Do you want to know how to buy a home for less in San Antonio, Texas in 2025? Well, you've come to the right place. In this video, Steve and I are going to walk you through how to buy a home in San Antonio, Texas for less in 2025. We're also going to walk you through the process and the steps to become a homeowner and own a piece of Texas. Let's dive in. If this is your first time to our channel and you would like to know everything there is to know about living in San Antonio and its surrounding areas, make sure you subscribe or tap the bell for notifications to ensure that you are one of the first to be notified when we bring you new market updates. My name is Katie Powers.
And my name is Stephen Garza.
And we get phone calls, emails, and texts from people just like you every single day who are looking to make a move into the area. Whether you're 6 days or 6 months from making that transition, we would absolutely love to hear from you. All of our information is listed right below, and Steve and I would be honored to be your realtors of choice. Now let's dive in to how to buy a home for less in San Antonio in the year 2025.
All right, first, to know the market, you must first understand the market. So what does that mean, right? Currently, interest rates, if you're thinking about buying, interest rates are hovering around 7%. Give or take DTI, debt to income, and your credit score, of course. And then secondly, months of inventory. San Antonio is currently sitting at 5.3 months of inventory. So what does that mean? That means the amount of homes that are on the market and what it would take to turn over all of that inventory. And in some areas, we're seeing the market at 6+ months of inventory. So it would take 6 months to sell all of those homes if not a single home came on the market. And the next, days on market. So this is also causing havoc. Days on market has risen to 77 days on market. So if you listed today, you can expect to sell in roughly 2.5 months. And then lastly is the median home price for San Antonio has fallen to $304. That is down 3% from last year's market at this time.
Now, all of these stats are great. This is super helpful to understand what's going on in the San Antonio market. But if you don't buy a home every day, you don't know what that means. So why don't we talk about how you as a buyer can benefit from all of these statistics that we're seeing in today's market. The first #1 thing that is going to benefit you the most is that inventory. The fact that you have a plethora of homes to choose from. There's so much inventory. We haven't seen a number of inventory like this in decades. This is huge. San Antonio typically has a pretty quick turnover rate because we're Military City, USA. However, it's a little different right now. So when we have a lot of inventory, it's true supply and demand. So you as a buyer are a hot commodity. It's hard to find you. So all of these sellers are willing to wheel and deal. Negotiation power is in your hands. We are seeing sellers do more negotiations than they have in a long time. And let's be real, COVID allowed sellers to dig their heels in and not negotiate at all. In fact, buyers were having to pay thousands upon thousands over list price, waiving appraisals, all these crazy things. It's completely different than it was during COVID. So sellers are now offering lower sales price, more in concessions, and a big topic that I want to hit on is buyer agent compensation or commission, whichever word you want to use. If you've seen the news, the NAR ruling has been really a big topic. But what you can see in San Antonio, because our market is so competitive right now, meaning we have so many homes on the market and so many sellers fighting for those buyers, in most cases, pretty much all cases, but we're just going to talk in generalities here, sellers are willing to pay the buyer agent compensation. So you as a buyer really only need to worry about your down payment and your closing costs. Another benefit is sellers are willing to pay closing costs as well. Closing costs can be used in multiple ways. We're going to dive into that a little later in this video, but the key here is you have more negotiation power in today's market in San Antonio. That is the number one thing that we really want to hit home.
Yeah, keep in mind, this is for San Antonio. We don't know outside markets. We know San Antonio's market. Even Austin's market, which is roughly 60 miles away, we don't know that market. We hear things that it's not so great up there, like San Antonio's market, but we don't know outside markets. This is for San Antonio. That's what makes us the experts in San Antonio. And I've been doing this 18 years. I went through the housing crash. I was licensed in 06. I saw 08. And then I saw the steady rise over the last decade of real estate, of doing residential real estate in San Antonio. And so when Katie says this is the market to buy, she is 100% correct.
You want to make sure, in my opinion, that you jump in where we're at. Yes, interest rates seem scary at 7%, but I promise you, when that interest rate starts to decrease, which it is anticipated to end of 2025, most likely 2026, you're going to have buyers coming out of the woodworks, which makes you no longer a hot commodity. So now is the time to buy, refi later. If you can buy today, you can get a deal, which makes buying a home in San Antonio less than it would be in the future or even a year ago. So it is a great time to buy. One other thing I just want to hit on, if you've seen our channel, you see we talk about new construction a lot. New construction homes are also offering good deals, but it's made the pre-owned homes have to compete harder. So we are seeing these sellers get a little more aggressive because 1 out of 3 homes that's sold in San Antonio is a new construction. So these pre-owned homes have to fight harder to get you to want to buy their home. So lots of more incentives. The other thing that we're seeing is sellers are taking more pride in ownership. So when they're putting it on the market, they're doing that extra deep clean. They're doing the extra paint touch-ups and the yard work and the gutter cleaning. They're putting a little more time into prepping their home to get it on the market so that it shows better, meaning you're walking into a home with a little less work to do, which again, if you were a buyer during the COVID days, you know you walked into a home and the sellers didn't do anything because they didn't have to. So now we're seeing you're getting a better quality home with all the touch-ups already done, which is another great benefit to you.
Yeah, when we sit down at that appointment, if you are thinking about relocating to San Antonio, but you got a house to sell in your current market, when we sit down with our sellers, we do explain to them that, hey, you got to be the standout of standouts, right? If there's 5 homes in your neighborhood on the market, you need to stand out, which means pricing correctly and also doing all your touch-ups, getting the house ready. The days of COVID are gone. You need to prep now.
And hopefully they don't come back, not in terms of COVID, but the competition might come back if those interest rates do decrease, which would also cause home prices to go up as well. So that is how it benefits you. Now let's talk about the process of purchasing a home, because how we negotiate and what we do to prep to purchase a home will definitely come into play on how to save you money when you purchase that home. So step 1 to buying a home is finances, right? We've got to get that pre-approval. We got to know what your true buying power is. There's lots of reasons for it. There's safety issues. There's also truly, I hate showing homes to people where we're looking at $500,000 and we get your pre-approval in later and you're pre-approved for $350,000. The caliber of home at $500,000 is so different to $350,000, and really it just feels unfair to you as the buyer to show you something that you can't buy. So pre-approval, step number 1, if you don't have a lender, reach out to Steve and I. Our information is listed below. I have a phenomenal local lender that we can hook you up with. She'll run all your financials. She'll go through all of that. Steve and I don't deal in money. We don't know your financials and how you get pre-approved. That's not our step, but we will be happy to refer you to a great lender who will take great care of you and get you prepped. They're going to go over your debt to income ratios, your credit, all of that. We're just here to do the fun stuff, which is shopping, but we'll be happy to refer you to a great lender.
Yeah, it never hurts to get your finances in order Even if you're 6 months out, it doesn't hurt to start that conversation with the lender, because there might be a game plan in there that she comes up with that you can follow till you get to the actual month that you're going to start house shopping. So talking to her first, getting that out of the way never hurts. It's always a great idea. Katie and I, we do it every 6 months. You know, we just want to know, hey, like if we want to step up, what are our next steps? Like, is there a plan that we need to follow to get to that goal?
Absolutely. So step number 2 is setting up your search. So we will always be available to set up a Zoom call with you guys. We really enjoy getting to know you, your timelines, your reasoning for moving, all of those great things. We sit down in a Zoom call with you to go over what are you looking for in a home? What are your priorities? Having that buyer consult really helps Steve and I narrow down what you're looking for, and it also helps us learn more about you so we can help advise on specific areas or parts of town that would probably fit what you're looking for. So your lifestyle is a very big part of helping us try and gauge what part of town that we could help you look for. Of course, you can check out all of our videos on this beautiful YouTube channel, so you can see all the different areas and suburbs that might work for you. But we are the experts. We can narrow that down and help you out. The better our phone call and relating and learning about you and your situation will help the fun part of shopping be more fun, so that we know every home we're showing you is something that you love.
Yeah, it all starts with window shopping, right? Developing that list online and sending it to Katie and I so we can pop it into the MLS system. We can scrub those homes, make sure they're still on the market, because a lot of these third-party sources don't update like our MLS system does. And, you know, just that's where the fun begins. So you get to start seeing pictures of homes, and then when you come into San Antonio after talking with us via Zoom, we get you on the calendar, and then the real fun begins.
Yep, we go door to door and we pick what you like. So once you find the home, the next step is negotiations and creating an offer to win, right? The key thing I want to hit on this is there's lots of items that we can negotiate in today's market because it's a buyer's market. So we can negotiate all of the following. We can negotiate sales price, seller concessions, which would include your closing cost or money to buy your rate down so that you don't have to be at a 7% interest rate. We can also negotiate our commission, meaning our buyer agent compensation would come from the sellers. That's also negotiated at contract time. And then the other few things that we can negotiate in there are going to be the home warranty, if you would like a home warranty for the first year of your home. We can also negotiate title policy and make sure that your title commitment and your title insurance is paid by the seller. There's a lot of those extra fees that we can put on the seller these days because of the negotiation power you have as a buyer. Another thing I really want to hit home on this seller concessions. You can use it, again, like I said, closing cost and to buy your rate down. What I typically encourage, and when you get with a great lender, they're going to explain and run these estimates for you. But the key I want to hit home, because this has shifted when you're buying your rate down, getting money off the sales price isn't necessarily the best use of money. We are seeing when you leave the sales price at list price and you negotiate $15,000, $20,000 in seller concessions, it's going to save you more money in the long run. Because if we can buy your rate down using the seller's money down to a 6% or a 5.8, your monthly payment goes down significantly, and then you compound that on a 30-year note. You're saving way more money getting seller concessions than necessarily getting $20,000 off list price. So of course, we'll go over all of those details with you when it comes to negotiating, but that's what Steve and I are here for. We have lots of years in real estate and experience to negotiate getting you the best deal that works for you and your family.
That's also where our A-team comes in, our lender, right? She tells us what is the best scenario for you, and we take that and use it to our advantage. That way, Katie is right, compounding that lower interest rate over the course of 30 years saves you far more money than saving $5,000, right, off the sales price. But every situation's different. Everybody's got a different goal. And so sitting down with that lender, getting with us, all of us being on the same team and knowing everything that goes into this process, that's where we win for you.
Absolutely. And I do want to hit on what we're seeing in San Antonio's market for negotiations. We are seeing in most cases buyers getting anywhere from 10 to 20,000. So if you're watching this and saying, oh my gosh, Katie said it's a great market, we're going to go in and offer 100K off list. You can offer it. You're not going to get it in most cases. But the truth is that's where we're seeing is like 20,000 is really the play room that we have, and 20,000 to buy your rate down is significant. So that is a big amount, and sales prices are already lower than they have been in the last 5 years. We're also the cheapest metro in the state of Texas. So you're already coming in with lower pricing, and then you get to negotiate anywhere from 10 to 20. It's a deal. So we're going to structure that offer to benefit you. That's our job as a buyer agent. We're going to make sure that you get the best deal that you can get here in San Antonio.
All right, so now we found you the house and we are on to the final steps for the closing process. What goes into that? This is everything you need to know.
So once we've negotiated the offer and we've gone through repairs and appraisal and all that fun stuff, we come to the closing. Now, whether you are local or out of state, out of the country, we can close on a home no matter where you are. The title company can send a notary to wherever you are in the world. Honestly, we've closed people all over the world. So you don't necessarily need to be here. But what I want you guys to know is Steve and I don't stop working on your behalf, whether you're here or not. So once we get to the closing week, that week, we're going to remind you about switching utilities over into your name, all of that fun stuff. But Steve and I are also going to do a final walk. What that means is we're going to schedule a showing to go to your home, your future home, and make sure that it is in perfect condition. The seller has moved out. We want to make sure there's no nicks on the walls, that nothing broke when they were moving out. But we also want to make sure that any repairs that we negotiated, we will always have the receipts showing that those repairs were done, but we also want to see it for ourselves. We also want to go make sure that it's done to your liking, or ours if you're out of town, to make sure that it is what you expect when you move in. The easier it is for you to close and move in and not have to do any extra preparations, the better it is for you. And that's what Steve and I are here to help support that. So we do a final walk, and then we review the closing disclosure from title company to make sure all of those numbers that your lender and the title have balanced out are what you're expecting. And then we schedule that closing for you. If you're here, Steve and I will be there at the closing table with you to celebrate. If you are not, a notary will go out to you and you can sign there, and then you'll get a text and an email from us congratulating you on the close of your home. So that is the process of purchasing a home here. But what I want to conclude this video on is, you probably hear real estate agents say it all the time. Now's a great time to buy, right? We all say that because that's our job. But the truth is, I have not seen a better buyer's market to buy in. If you are looking for a deal and you're already moving here anyway, I would highly suggest buying over renting for the first year. A lot of calls from you guys. Y'all want to rent for 6 months to a year to get to know the area. Totally understandable. And we'll totally help you through that as well. But if you plan on being here for the next 3 years, I would say buy, because you're going to get a deal today. And once those interest rates start to decrease in the next year, which is what we are expecting, your values are going to increase. So buying now allows you to take advantage of the equity increase that we will most likely see over the next 3 years.
It's never a bad idea to buy a little piece of Texas. Texas is still growing. All the metroplexes are still growing. People are flocking here in droves. So if you own that little slice of Texas, think about what it's going to be worth in 3, 5, 10 years. It's going to pay off.
Yes, and San Antonio is a very stable market. So like I said, even though it is a buyer's market, we are only seeing 10 to 20,000 in negotiations. We're not seeing those massive swings that you see in like New York or California where people are negotiating 100,000 off. That's not a normal market for Texas. We do small shifts. However, this is one of the largest shifts we have seen. So it's a great time to take advantage of it. You can always refi later or take advantage of the seller concessions, buy that rate down, and get a better rate than what people are gonna see next year anyway without having to do the multiple offer and fight for a home. You're getting in now and being able to make a deal. So if you like to negotiate, now's your time. This is it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate your patience in hearing us out. This is some really great nuggets of knowledge to help you purchase a home in San Antonio for less. If you have any questions or want to start a buyer consult with us, all of our information is listed below. Reach out, text, email, call. I've had quite a few of you guys reach out to me through Google lately. So however, you can Google us. We're on Google. You can find us. We're easy to get a hold of. We would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on the next one.